Hi, you're very welcome to this session of Excel Snacks, which is going to be all about printing, as I usually do in this particular one, scissors, glues, etc. All right, so let me just kick off the show, as they say. All right. Lovely, lovely. All right, so today's session is about kind of printing or scissors, glues, and staplers. All right. So basically what you start off with, okay, here we have it. Scissors, this printer, my scissors, my glue. There's my staplers, all right? Things that people tend to use when they're printing, particularly if they don't know all of the features that I'm going to tell you about today. Also, this is my 20 minutes of Excel goodness, which you have on a Friday, right? Tiny bit about me, all right? My name is Anne Walsh. I live in the west of Ireland. I have a website called The Excel Expert, currently undergoing renovations as we speak, right? Been a freelance Excel trainer since the mid-90s. I also have written a few books, Your Excel Survival Kit, Your Guide to Surviving and Thriving in an Excel World. And the paperback versions arrived in a box today, which was which was delightful, right? And Bookbone Books, create great reports in Excel, get and transform data, create great reports in Word, how to track your training records in Excel. Those of you who know me know that I love my movies, my puns, and my crime fiction. Married for 27 years. Neither of us have killed each other yet, which is always a good sign. And I have one son who is here as my co-producer today, and he's a software engineer, and I think it's fair to say you can probably blame his mother for that. So his mothers get blamed for everything else on this. Okay. And at the moment, I'm writing another book about pivot tables. As I like to say, if you're looking for sort of a button popping, bodice ripping in epic, that won't be it. Just to break it to you gently. All right, so let's have a look. What you will learn today, all right? We're going to learn a little bit about a thing called orientation, portrait and landscape, which is something in my experience that practically everybody knows what it is, but in printing it's important. How you get the damn thing to fit. This is where people end up kind of cutting and pasting, sellotaping, gluing, etc., and then eventually end up crying in front of the printer. How do you get those headings on every page without actually putting it into Word, printing it out 20 times, then sellotaping it across the top? That is an option, but after today, hopefully it won't be too bad. And the final bit today is what I want is the thing that I actually consider to be the most useless feature in Excel. So that's probably going to be the highlight of this particular session for today. Right. So let us talk a little bit about printing. Oh yes, and some other stuff before I go any further. Yes, it will be recorded and sent out afterwards with the file. Okay, just to say it probably will be Monday or Tuesday of next week. Just bear that in mind. This is the third in the current series. All right, one more next week. And you can also ask questions in the chat, which I will pause and check from time to time. But I do like to run a tight ship, 20 minutes and so on. Okay. So let's talk about printing first of all. All right. It's a one job, but it's two locations. Okay. That's one of the kind of like the key things just to remember. Unless, of course, you are rocking 2007, in which case you should think about upgrading your Excel version if you have it. The first version is going to be on the ribbon. Okay. And again, I'm going to be demoing all this in a few minutes. You have the page layout, and then you have the different options here on your automatic and scaling. And then you also have this option here called print titles. And that's where the heading bit comes from. You then have the next bit then, which is on the file and print option. You don't have all the options on both of them, but you have a lot of the similar ones. Right? So click on file, print, choose your options, usually print down there on the left. And then you have this one here where you can change all your various settings. Most of the things that you can do on the ribbon, you can do in the file and print option, except print titles. Okay. Now, I've gone to the next bit. Okay, printing portrait versus landscape. Now, there's not really a competition between the two of them, but you just need to know what the two of them are. Okay, so you've got on the ribbon, it's called orientation, and on the print option, it's also called orientation. Okay, and you see it on there on the left-hand side, it's like your typical phone. If you're holding a phone, typically in the usual format, it's going to be in that portrait format. The other one is landscape, where basically it's like rectangular, it's kind of wider than it's taller. So that's a landscape. The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is how do I get it to fit on the page, right? Also known as scaling. Okay, so if you kind of think, I can't remember what she said, but if you just go to Google and type in how to do scaling in printing in Excel, you won't go too far astray. Okay. So let's get it to fit on the page, which is the ribbon. And there it is. There you got your page layout. If you just remember that on the ribbon, it's under page layout, most of what you need. All right. And then you have this option here, which is your scaling option. Okay. And on the in the print option, a file and print option, it's there on scaling. Okay. And I'm going to go through that as well when we kind of just do the demo in a few minutes. All right. So that's how you get it to fit on the page. Okay. The last bit of this before going to a demo is if you want to get your headings on every page. As I say, without the use of scissors, glue, sellotape, or even Microsoft Word. Okay. Under ribbon page layout, that's going to be your print titles option. All right, there's a page layout, and then you're looking for print titles. And when you go into print titles, then you're going to go into these things. It says rows to repeat at top and columns to repeat at left. So I'm going to demonstrate both of those, all those features as we go through it. And again, it's under print titles. You select the row you want to appear at the top of every page. You don't type it in. You actually just click on it, select it. And then sometimes you want a column to appear on the left of every page. So for example, in the example I'm going to work with, you have an example of, let's say, 52 weeks. So how can I get it so the names that have in the first column appear on every page that include my 52 weeks? Okay. So it is now time for a demo. All right. So let us move into a file, always a good file. And I go into this one here. All right. Okay, now can I just have a quick check, Laura? Are you looking at this one here? It says date, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, etc. Can I just see that?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, lovely. All right, good stuff. All right. Yep. Okay, brilliant. All right. So let us begin first of all with our old portrait and landscape. Okay, page layout, orientation. At the moment, this is a landscape, or I could change it back to portrait. If I want to do that under my file options, I go up here to file. Oops. File, down to print, and then over here I have the option where I can change it to landscape or portrait. Okay, so let's see what the portrait looks like if I change it here. All right, see there, that's what the portrait looks like. Okay. The second thing I want to do is I want to get things to fit on the page. All right. So for example, if I go up here to my print preview, all right, which you have up here, there it is, print preview. All right. This is kind of without any adjustments or anything else. So you see there, you got your date across the top, you got your headings, and I can go across the page, go up the pages here, and you can see straight away we have no headings, which is a bit of a pain, all right? And then you also see then about page 8, it's only decided to kind of, say, oh, yes, I'd forgotten about those. So it takes the next bunch of headings and goes on to the next page. All right. Now, what people tend to do at this point is that they tend to kind of say, oh, if I make the font smaller, and that is one option. However, what is a wiser thing to do is if you go down here, see where it says custom scaling. If you're in your print, if you're in your file print, I can go down here to this one and you can say, look, basically fit all columns on one page. And when you're doing this, you might need to experiment a little bit. Okay, fit all columns on one page. And if I go back, see there, it's gone from 14 pages, all right? And you see down to, but they're all fitting tightly on the page. If I do this from the ribbon, page layout, it automatically, see there it's changed the width to 1 page. Okay. By default, it's going to be automatic, but there it automatically just changed it to 1 page, which is what you need to experiment with to actually get it to fit on the page if possible. Now, the other thing we want to look at here, all right, is if I go back here into my print preview again, all right, you will see there that I have got my headings on the first page up there at the top, but no, then I go to the next pages, see there, nothing doing. Okay. So the way I get the headings on every page is I do a thing called print titles, which is not available to you here on this menu. You have to go back out to this one, go to page layout, and then you go to print titles. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is go straight down here to rows to repeat at top. And what I do is I go over here and I just click on row 1 up here. I don't type in row 1, I actually go over here and click directly on row 1. See there with the little arrow on it. If I go down here then to print preview, there you have it. There's row first page. But let me go on to the second page and yay! On the second page, there's my headings. Okay, see them up there at the very top on it. And as I said, no scissors, no glue, no staples required in any shape, size or form. So that's called your print titles. Okay. So now I'm going to do another variation on print titles in a moment, okay? But I just want to see just at this second, any questions, Lauros? Put something in the chat. Anybody got any questions or anything they want to just hit on? Kind of halfway through. Not hearing anything. Oh, all good so far. All right, lovely. Don't forget it's being recorded. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go to a slightly different file. I'm going to go to, not a slightly different file, actually, a completely different file. All right. Okay. And here you can see one. So Laura's, can I see one with my Bildad, Hogpen, Belladonna, Gamgee, Belba Noakes, etc.? Yep, you can see that. Brilliant. All right. Okay, so here we have a scenario where we have, and this is not uncommon, where it's going for 52 weeks. Okay, see all the way, if I go all the way across, it's got 52 weeks. Okay, now there is an option up here. I could go up here, let's say, to fit it on a page. Okay, so let's say if I go up here to File, down to Print, and if I go down here then to this one, Custom Scaling, you need to be careful about this one, about fit sheet on one page, because let's see what happens when I do that. Yes, it does fit on the page. However, it also requires a microscope to do it. Okay, so I need to go back here now to this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say fit all the columns on one page, if possible. Or what I'm going to do is just no scaling. That's what I'll do my no scaling at the moment. All right. So you can see up here, all right, I've kind of got my given name, surname, age, and then it goes week 1 out to week 9. And then I go to my next page, week 9, and so on. I've got the headings on it. Okay, so let me just go back here now to this one. I'm going to go into print titles for a second. And I'm just going to delete that for a moment. That's what happens when you do things, just do a quick click OK on that. So what I need to do here is that if I go back here now and view this again, while not even file, I suppose that one, print, right? You see there as I go across, you can see there, I don't have the names going from week 22 to week 33, but I don't have the names on the left-hand side, right? Which is kind of confusing because it's very easy then to make a mistake. So the way I fix that is I go back up here to my print titles, okay. Go down here to rows to repeat at top, and I choose my row 3. I then go columns to repeat at left. And what I do is I highlight the 3 columns for given name, surname, and age, and then I click OK. And I'm going to do one more thing up here. Right? What I'm going to say is that I basically want this to fit on, let's say, 4 pages. Right? So like I kind of have, 13 weeks per page. And then when I go up here then to my file, down to my print preview, and I go across page 1, there it goes across. Go to the next page. You can see there now this time I have all the names on the left, given name, surname, age on the left on page 2. If I go across then to the next one, same thing again, and then over to the last one, week 52. Okay. So that's straight away kind of gives you, gets things to fit nice and tidily on the page. Now I'm just going to touch on one last thing, all right, which wasn't on the agenda, but it has wandered into my mind, all right. When things wander into my mind, I often say, well, maybe I should pay attention to them. If I go over here to this little drop down here, little page setup, okay, there's also an option here that says header footer. And if I go, for example, here down to footer, this is where I can add my page numbers if I like at the bottom. So you see that it says like page 1 of 1, or I could put the full path on it if you like. There and there. So let's say page 1 of 1, and then I do a print preview. You see down at the bottom, I have my page numbers down at the bottom. All right. Quite often it's useful to have your page totals as well. Now, I'm just going to do one more quick check-in. Laura, any other questions in the chat about this? Any questions, comments? Okay, so far so good. All right, one is there. Nope, all good so far. All right, lovely. Now I'm just going to go to the last bit, one of the last bits I'm just going to do for this evening. Let me just kind of do this now for a second. And what I'm going to show you now is the bit that I consider the most useless feature in Excel. All right. Now, there's probably some of you saying there's a lot of useless features in Excel. This one, I think, kind of takes the biscuit, I have to say. Under page layout, there's an option that says background. All right. So if I go to background, and let's say if I search for oranges, picking oranges fairly randomly. Okay. And you see there are many, many pictures of oranges, and I decide I want to have an orange. No idea why I picked that as a background. Click on here, and then I go to insert. Okay. Now, for a second, first of all, what it's going to do is going to basically put, eventually, see there, put a picture of an orange in the background. All right. Now, the reason I say this is can be quite useless is that quite often when you put in a background picture, it makes it what you have on the sheet completely legible. Secondly, it doesn't print. So I never know why they have it under page layout. If you go up here to file, and I go down, let's say, to print, you see there, no oranges. This is an orange-free zone, as you can see. Let's go back to this one. And then to remove it, you just go up to delete background. So I often kind of say to myself, like, it does cover the entire screen. Yes, it does. However, it does make the file quite big. Like the oranges that I've picked there, it does happen to be legible, but I've quite noticed quite often when you do pick it, it's not legible. So, you know, and then it doesn't print. So that, in my opinion, is one of the most useless features in Excel. Right. So I'm just going to stop the share for a second. And we've got about 3 minutes and I'm nearly finished. So any quick questions from anyone? Yeah, you want to font. All right, great stuff. Good stuff. Okay. Now, the last bit then, that is really what I want to kind of cover on this. Okay. So I'm going to do next, we're going to wrap up the last 3 minutes. Okay. And we've had our demo. Okay. And then on to the last bit here. There it is, the most useless Excel feature in the world. Okay. I'm invoking Jeremy Clarkson there for a second. See, background, ribbon, page layout, and background. Okay. Yep. Now, just a tiny bit more now. This is the third in the session of 4 that I'm doing at the moment. Okay, 20-minute snacks. The next one is going to be next week. I'm probably not going to do any in the summer. And it's going to be Power Query if you have to clean up the same damn file every week, which is a common occurrence. So you get a file from someone and basically you have to do a whole bunch of, you know, removing blanks, removing totals, removing columns, unwanted this, that, and the other from it. If you have to do that every week, you should, if you like, get familiar with a thing called Power Query, which is a built-in feature into Excel, which is called Get and Transform on the data ribbon. But everybody I know who likes it calls it Power Query. And again, just a reminder, this session is being recorded. It will be sent out to you next week along with the files. Okay, and I'm going to stop the share for a second. Any questions? Got 2 minutes left where I wrap it up. Do you have a snack like this on pivots? Yes, I do. I did it earlier. Yes, I kind of did it about, I think maybe kind of about 2 months ago. That's right. If you email me, Mary, you can see there in the chat, I will send you I'll send you the snack. No bother. Back for next week. Lovely, Patrick. Okay, great stuff. Yes, also like to break accessibility. Thank you. Good point there, Laura. All right. Now, any other questions? Otherwise, we are good to go. I finished my little bit of a snack on printing. Great stuff. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. There we go. And yep, another snack bite.